Hello and welcome back to Texas Nation. I'm your host, Grant Levenson. I'm sitting here with Aren Wolf and Devon Walker, and we're going to get into our NFL Roundtable segment right now. Guys, how you doing?
Doing good.
Doing good. All right, let's get right into it. Monday, Andy Reid, the head coach for the Philadelphia Phillies, said that Kevin Kolb will be his starter for this weekend's matchup when he comes back to the team. Just a day later, he decides to flip-flop his decision, and Michael Vick is now the starter. Aren, do you think that's a smart move by Andy Reid?
Yes, I do. With his passing ability right now, it's pretty good. That's been the question with his dilemma as a quarterback in the first place. So if he continues to keep his passing up, then we definitely want to take Kevin Kolb out and put Michael Vick in. He can get rid of any kind of passing threat, as blitz off the side or corner blitz or anything like that. So yeah,
he definitely showed that he still has the wheels to get away from those defenders. Now, Devon, do you think it's a smart move for Andy Reid to be inserting a new quarterback just the day after he said someone else is going to be the quarterback and there wasn't even an injury to be really involved in that decision?
Well, I think in some cases, that's probably not the best situation for the coach to put the team in. But I think in this situation, Andy Reid really knows what he's doing because Kevin Kolb, he's kind of an unproven guy. And the Eagles, they really feel like they have the team to win right now. And I think with the addition of Michael Vick, as a starter at quarterback, I think they're ready to win, right now. And he's proven that he can do that.
Well, Philadelphia is definitely a town that wants to win right now. We've all mentioned or seen that with the Phillies, with the 76ers, and with the Eagles as well. Now, I want to go from one NFL or NFC East team to another NFC East team. Talk about the Dallas Cowboys, who are a shocking 0-2 on the season. Now, both of those games have been relatively close losses, but they still go down in the loss column. Aren, I want to talk to you about the play calling. Many fans have been calling for Jason Garrett to drop play calling duties because they just see that the Cowboys are trying to throw the ball down the field without establishing the run. They have three very talented running backs, but they seem not wanting to use them. Do you think Jason Garrett is doing the right thing by trying to move the ball downfield by throwing, or do you think he needs to mix it up a little bit?
I think we have plenty of good enough personnel to be throwing the ball down the field and run. Of course, running is always a great game plan to set up your passing game in the first place. But we have talented receivers and a talented quarterback. So once again, no matter what playing calling Steven Garrett puts into play, it's still going to come. Jason Garrett, yeah. Excuse me, is going to ultimately come down to if the player is going to make the play or not. There's been many catchable balls and many passes that could have been thrown better, and that's not Jason's fault.
Right.
So I don't think we can blame his play calling over the performance of the players.
Well, now, Devon, what is your opinion on just the Cowboys' overall play? Because like Aren said, it ultimately comes down to how the players execute. Do you think that the players are executing at a high level?
I would have to say no, because like Aren said, these are very talented football players, as are everyone else in the NFL. But these are very talented football players, and when talented players, when they execute and they play as they've been coached, they should be able to win games. And I think that's when you have to look at the coaching. How are these players being prepared for the games? Why are they not executing? I think you have to look back at the coaching decisions.
Yeah, I don't. It's not been an out coaching problem with the Cowboys. It's been an out executing problem. I don't think coaching's been. I'm not saying coaching is very good there or the best. I'm just saying I don't think they've been out coached as much as they've been out executed.
Well, now one team who has definitely out executed everyone they've played would be the Houston Texans. They killed the Colts in Week 1, and then they came up with a nice overtime victory over the Redskins in Week 2. They're 2-0. Most people thought that the Cowboys should be 2-0, maybe the Texans should be an 0-2, but folks, it's the other way around, and there's nothing you can do. So, Aren, I want to talk to you about, I guess, Arian Foster, because he has been the spark plug to this Texans team. In Week 1, he rushed for 231 yards, lifting them over the Colts. Do you see his play continuing to play at this high level, or do you see him finally sloping back down, coming back down to earth?
That's all going to be on to the offensive line. If they continue to push people around and dominate over there, he'll have 1,000-yard rushing year. His performance and what he's doing for them right now is going. They've already Matt's a good quarterback, and obviously we know Johnson's. We know
a fantastic receiver, right?
And so they've never really lacked in those areas. So with the running game, you've got a team it's going to be difficult to even play a defense against because you can't put 8 guys in the box with Andre Johnson on the line. You can't do it.
Right.
And then if you have an offensive line pushing people around and opening holes, how are you going to stop them?
Well, Devin, do you have an answer for that? Do you see a way that you can stop this Texans offense?
That's actually a good question. I would say no. When they're clicking on all cylinders, they really have the tools. If the offensive line's playing well, they really have the tools to, I think, beat anybody in this league. You saw it when they came out and beat the Colts. In the very first week, their rushing game was on. And then when they played the Redskins, Matt Schaub had over 400 yards of passing. So it's kind of like when the Texans are hitting on all cylinders, I don't know if there's anybody in the league that can beat them.
It's kind of like a pick your poison scenario. But this weekend's matchup has the Texans playing the Cowboys, the Texas Lone Star Showdown. Who do you see coming out on top, and why?
I'm gonna go ahead. I want to say Houston because they're playing in Houston and what their the cylinders are playing on. Unfortunately, I think the Cowboys are way too hungry. They can't afford another loss. They'll just get raped in the media, and they can't afford it, and that's making them even more hungry. It's funny because these two teams, Houston is making the big play and Dallas is not, and so they're coming together. It's going to be an interesting matchup.
Well, speaking of taking another loss, Devin, do you think the Cowboys can afford to have another loss? Do you think there's any shot of them making the playoffs if they don't win?
I think if the Cowboys want to make the playoffs, which presumably they do, because that's what they're playing for here.
Right.
I think if they take another loss, it's out of the question. I mean, they're in too good of a division. The Eagles are looking strong. The Redskins haven't looked too bad so far. And I just think if they take another loss right now, that's really going to be the end of their playoff hopes.
Well, playoffs is obviously the goal that everyone shoots for, but a lot of teams this year seem to have a little bit of a struggle getting there with all these injuries that we've been seeing have happened on the field. Reggie Bush broke his leg in a play. Leonard Weaver tore his ACL. Kevin Cobb, obviously, we saw go down with that concussion when Clay Matthews tackled him. Do you think that these injuries that are happening are due to a higher level of play by the athletes, or do you think it's just due to a freak accident just happening on the field?
Obviously each situation is different. With Reggie Bush, that looks a little more like a freak accident because he was able to run off the field. It was really interesting to hear that was an injury later. But with Kevin Cobb, I like seeing that because that's the NFL tightening up their rules and saying, look, if you're not completely done with your concussion, you're not going back on the field. We're not
Right.
That's not what we're doing here. This is a fun thing, a sport thing first. We want to make sure everyone's all right. So in his case, I don't consider it a freak. They're just taking better precautions that they've learned from the past. But it's hit or miss these days. It feels like it's a new NFL.
It is a new NFL. And speaking of a new NFL, many of the fans are crying for 18-game regular season. They figure if they're going to have to pay full price for all preseason games, why not shorten the preseason? What they're looking to do, guys, is to make it an 18-game regular season with 2 games in the preseason. Devin, do you see this setup causing more injuries or having pretty much no effect?
Well, I feel like just the addition of 2 games in itself, it increases the probability or the likeliness of injuries because football, as everyone knows, it's just a rough sport. And so the more you're out there, the more likely you are to get injured. But, at the same time, I don't think that just adding 2 games is going to, I don't think it's going to, just because you add more games, it's going to make people get injured. Someone can get injured in the first quarter of the first game because that's just the nature of football in itself. You
Right.
go out there, as soon as you step out on the field, it's possible you could get hurt.
Well, guys like Elvis Dumervil got hurt in preseason just practicing in mini camps, and he's going to be done for a while. So, Aren, do you agree that these games are going to affect more injuries?
When compared to modern medicine, because that's what matters, that's what cures injuries, it's interesting. I think it's just pushing more towards of what this new NFL is proposing is because, used to you tore an ACL and it took forever,
Right.
to heal. Now it's 6 month process.
Right.
And so, it's all relative, I guess. I see it's going to be a problem with preseason. What's going to happen, I think, is they're going to have 2 preseason games, and NFL teams are going to want more preseason games to get ready for the NFL.
Right.
So really, this is going to cause to a 20-game season.
Okay.
I would say 4 preseason games and then an extended regular season game because they're going to, after a while, going to want more.
Now, the last topic that I want to address is after these 2 weeks, who do y'all see going to the Super Bowl and why? Aren, we'll start with you. One team from the AFC, one team from the NFC, and why you think they'll be there.
That's tough. That's difficult. You put me on the spot here. The AFC, I would probably have to say maybe, I don't know.
Colts, Patriots, Steelers, Jets.
No, I Colts, I guess. I guess I'll go with Colts. It's a tough one though, man. And then NFC, maybe I don't know, Dolphins. I don't know.
Dolphins are in the AFC.
Then probably San Diego.
San Diego's in the AFC as well.
Wow. Let's see. Well, who do you think? Let me think about it.
In the AFC, I actually like the Pittsburgh Steelers. With how well their defense has been playing, all without their star quarterback who's out for 4 games. So I like the Steelers in the AFC, and in the AFC, I definitely like the Green Bay Packers. Big Aaron Rodgers guy, he's really efficient. They've got the receivers, and Clay Matthews, their middle linebacker, is the leader in sacks right now in the NFL with 6.
He's an absolute beast. Clay is the guy who took out Kevin Kolb with that sack and ended up getting him the concussion. So, Aren, are you ready now? You got someone for us?
Well, I definitely agree. I could definitely agree with the Green Bay. I didn't even think about it. I am a big Aaron Rodgers fan as well. He's been due time. He's got his chance, and they're going to do well, I think. I don't know about the NFC. I guess I'd stick with the Colts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to get into our Major League Baseball playoff race segment. And so don't go anywhere because you don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.